Hi guys, Tracy here with a layout that I created today. I'm going to have a look at some of the pictures that I took over the Christmas holidays, and at this point I'm not too sure which ones I'm going to scrap, but I'm looking through my supplies and trying to see if anything pops out at me for any of the pictures. And so at this point I think I decided that I was going to do this picture of my daughter's reading, my younger daughter reading to my older daughter. And so I'm just looking for papers that go together and that kind of pick up on some of the colors in their pajamas. So I've got mostly light colored papers there, and I'm just going to trim up my photo a little bit. I often do my cropping on the computer, but in this case I just printed it up in 4x6. It's easier for me to do it that way. These are some things that were just on my table that I got for Christmas that I just wanted to keep in mind, but I didn't end up using them. They're by KI Memories. And so I'm just taking note of some of the supplies that I use so that when I do this narration, I know that that is a Fifth and Frolic paper. I'm using the B side of it, which is just a kind of, it's a mottled pink. And I'm outlining it, double outlining it. And now I'm going to cut some strips from some of the other papers that I collected, and I'm making my strips be various widths, so some of them are quite narrow and some of them are quite wide and some of them are somewhere in between. And I'm cutting plenty of them, and I want to have a variety of colors and neutrals in there. So, and one of those things, the very first one, is the manufacturer's strip from the Fifth and Frolic background paper. So I'm making use of that. And so there, I've laid out my strips the way I want them, so I just snapped a photo, and now I'm going to outline them. And you'll see me checking my phone often as I'm outlining, and that's because for some of them I couldn't remember which side I wanted to use. So those papers are, that one is Heidi Swap, that blue polka dot one. This one is my Mind's Eye. It's a really neutral chevron. That's Heidi Swap again. This one is October Afternoon, and this one is Fifth and Frolic. And that's another October Afternoon. I think it's from the Cakewalk collection, that colorful one from October Afternoon. And then that first one that I put down is the manufacturer's strip from the Fifth and Frolic background paper. So I'm just putting them down so that I'm overlapping some of the narrow ones over the wider ones. And I'm just letting them hang off the bottom of the page, kind of in a staggered type of a pattern. And I'm only gluing them in the very middle because I'm planning to trim at least the tops. At this point I wasn't sure if I was going to trim the tops and the bottoms or if I was just going to trim the top. So now I'm going in and I'm just cutting them at various lengths. And I went ahead and added another strip there, just because I didn't want to end on such a short strip. And now I'm going to go through and I'm going to sew them all. First I'm going to change my thread to pink thread, although it's such a light pink it really just shows up as white on the layout. I'm going to have a bit of trouble threading this sewing machine because it's a really cheap thread, and so it's just really hard to thread. So there, I got it going, and now I'm going to just go down. I don't go down every single strip, but I'm using a medium zigzag stitch, and I'm making it so that the thread at least touches all of the strips, but sometimes because it's zigzag I can catch two in one. And this just adds a little bit of texture to the layout. It doesn't add a whole lot of design. There have been other times when I've done this technique with black thread, and it really adds a nice strong graphic element to the strips and really makes them stand out. But where these are such soft colors, I didn't want to overpower the strips, and there's so many of them too that I just didn't want to have tons of big black stitching. So there, Now, I didn't backstitch any of the beginnings of my of my sewing, so I'm going to use my glossy accents, which is finicky. It keeps getting clogged these days, just to set those threads so they're not going to fall apart as I'm working on the layout. Once it's in the page protector, it's not going to be an issue, but I wasn't sure what else I was going to do with this, so I just wanted to make sure that the stitches held. So now I wanted to just mount that picture on that black wood grain, which is one of my favorite matting papers. It's by Create Paper. And then I grabbed that green grid paper, and that's just going to ground the photo a little bit. And I'm purposely making it overhang past where the paper strips are, because I know at this point that I want a long title and that I want it to be over in that open pink space. And so having that green piece overhang is going to allow me to connect my title to my photo. So now those Soho Garden stickers that you see up at the top there, the brighter stickers, were kind of the inspiration for this layout, which is to have a really pale colored background and then have more bright colors or darker colors, I guess more saturated colors as all of the other elements. So, so yeah, I'm trying to pick stickers or letter stickers that are going to kind of coordinate with those Soho Garden stickers, because I knew I wanted to use some of those on this layout. I am particularly looking at that big, huge ampersand, and that's going to be the jumping off point for my title. And so I'm just making sure that my letters do match with some of the elements in those letter stickers. At this point, I'm not sure which ones I'm going to use, but I just want to make sure that I'm picking letter stickers that are going to kind of match. So there is lots of wood grain in those Soho Garden letter or picture stickers, so I picked that wood grain letter stickers, which are, let me see, the Let is Sotheby's, the Come is Eric Thickers, the Me is Pebbles, the Read is Sentiment Thickers, the To is Apartment Thickers, You is Nicky Ricky Thickers, and Live is Rain Boots Thickers. And I just chose them in colors, as I said, that coordinated with those Soho Garden sticker set. And some of them are not very sticky, so they're kind of floating around a little bit on my wax paper, but it's still going to let me figure out, you know, my general placement. I am going to move the word come over a little bit when I put it on the layout, just because it's a little unbalanced as it is right now. So those rain boots stickers are really fun to use because you can overlap them and then trim off the excess, and it looks like it's one big word sticker. So I really like those. And then those shiny sentiment thickers are one of my favorite fonts. And then that yummy wood grain that came in a Studio Calico kit not too long ago. And there's my title. So whenever I do a long title like this using big letter stickers, and especially using lots of different letter stickers, I like the title to be the main element of the layout. Here's me trimming off where I overlapped those stickers so that everything lays flat and it kind of looks like it's all one word. So as I was saying, I want this title to be the main element on the layout besides the photo, and so I'm only going to have one embellishment cluster instead of having like 2 or 3 or 4. I'm going to keep all of the embellishments mostly towards that lower right hand corner, and it's going to be pretty simple. Like there's not going to be a whole lot of layering and sprinkling of stuff around the layout. I'm going to do a tiny bit of layering down in that corner that you see me sort of starting to build up. So that tab I really wanted to use because it brings in the red color, but I couldn't fit it on the side there. And then this sticker seemed like a really good back for my layers. I wish I had placed that sticker a little tiny bit further out, because as it is when I trimmed it down, you can still see the red from the frame there, and I would have rather have the red go all the way off the page, so when I trimmed it, it looked like it had been bigger than what it was, but that's okay. So see how you can still see that red? Those arrows are from a piece of Studio Calico paper that came in the kit, and I just hand cut them a while ago and never used them, so I'm using them now. And then all of the stickers that you've seen so far are from that Soho Garden sticker sheet. And the chipboard speech bubble is, I believe it's from Pebbles. I could be wrong. You know what? I think it might be from American Crafts. I'm taking some enamel dots from my stash, and just at the last minute I decided to add that feather element to that little space. It just fills up some of that background sticker a little bit. Putting another enamel dot and then a third one to make a bit of a triangle there within that cluster. Thought about using those buttons, but I'm not going to. And trying to decide what I'm going to cover that chipboard speech bubble with. I want to bring some red into the speech bubble, but yeah, I just thought that chevron washi tape by my mind's eye was a little bit too busy. So I've chosen a much more plainish washi tape. It's the one that's kind of like a bluish grid with some little hearts on it, little red hearts. And so I've just I laid down the washi tape, I trimmed it, and then I just use a nail file to kind of sand around it to make it look all neat. And then I outlined it with a marker that's for slick surfaces. And now I'm trying to figure out, whoops, sorry, I'm off camera here. I'm trying to put a phrase from one of the books that she was reading. So she's reading one of those kind of early reader books that has a lot of repetition in it, and she loves this book. This is probably her very favorite book. It's called I Like Jam, and it's about a monster who likes jam with all sorts of different crazy things. And her favorite line is, I like jam and socks. So I'm just looking for a red font. So these are Lillibee Design letter stickers. Sorry, I'm off frame here. Again, I wanted to bring some red or pink into the speech bubble, and so putting socks in the pink, it's kind of a darker pink, and it brings the pink in, but it also makes the word socks stand out because it's kind of the unpredictable line in the book that makes everybody laugh. So I wanted to kind of emphasize the socks word. I'm just getting the dot for the jam there, for the J in jam. Pulling off the adhesive backing on that and having a look around. And now I think that it's done, so I'm showing you the close-ups and everything, but I'm not going to actually show you the close-ups because I decided to add a little something at the top here. So I'm going to use one of the stamps that came in the kit, and I just kind of stamped it 3 times without re-inking it, and that just gives me a little something to put above the come. And it I thought about using the feather just where I had a feather elsewhere in the layout, and then I decided to go with an asterisk. I love asterisks. I can't get enough of them, and I'm almost out. I'm going to have to order some more. So I wanted the asterisk to be pink, and I just didn't have the right spray. So I'm going to look around and try a couple. I tried Boss Lady and I tried Cameo, I think, but they were both too light. So I took a Stampin' Up! Marker and just colored them pink. And I don't really like the feather pink because I don't know of any birds that have bright pink feathers. So it looks a little unnatural, and it's also quite a contrast to the feather that's down there in the corner. So what I decided to do was color in another asterisk for beside the feather, and then put the other one up by the cum where I had first intended it to be. And again, that just brings another element of red into that mostly blue and green area. And then I added a couple of more enamel dots and another asterisk, just where I had the two. I thought I wanted to put a third just to make a visual triangle there. So I put it just below that wood grain word sticker. And so now here is the close-up. And so, so there you get to see how the title looks up close. And all of those layers of really pretty paper. I love all the patterns in this kit. This, by the way, is the 34th Street kit by Studio Calico, and I have Penn Station, and I think it's called Murray Hill is the add-on that I have. I could be wrong. Yeah, I'm pretty sure it's Murray Hill. Anyways, almost everything in this was from the kit. I think I mentioned what was and wasn't, so if you have any comments, just leave me a comment. Bye!